This week on The Real Housewives of Potomac Season 9 Reunion Part 3.
Decided to say, hey, no drinking and driving. And
As she said, they were trying to cover all the points. They think that we're going to question.
Right.
That wasn't accountability.
No.
Not to me. I don't know what that was. Y'all need to...
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about The Real Housewives of Potomac Season 9, the third and final part of the reunion. Let's get right into this. Okay, so last week we left off with Gizelle calling Mia a terrible mother. Mia couldn't handle it anymore, so she got up and left. Then the women were taking a break, and Wendy got a text message from Eddie that says, I just got off the phone with TJ, and he said blank. And that's when Wendy says, she says it out loud. She says, shut the F up. So then everybody sits back. And I guess in the moment, the producers decided to scrap the husband segment. Kriana even said, oh, no, man. Like, Greg came all the way here for nothing. And Andy says, yeah, no, man. You didn't want TJ to come tonight, right, Stacey? And Stacey says, no, I didn't want him to come because we're not together anymore. So that's when Wendy turns to Stacey and says, TJ and Eddie talk. And they were just FaceTiming right now, and TJ let Eddie know that you were paying him to play as your love interest this season, and he said that you need to run him his money. Stacey says, I don't believe anything you are saying. And Wendy says, no, like, this was recorded. This happened on camera. And Stacey keeps on saying, I don't believe it. You are lying. I want to see it. I want to see him say it. Now, they were having some technical difficulties because the camera that caught what TJ said to Eddie is the same camera that is currently recording Mia leaving the building. Mia actually left, you guys. Mia has left the building. She is done. She quit the reunion. But Stacey still doesn't believe it. She's demanding that she wants to see it for herself. So then they all start to cheer, bring Eddie out. Bring Eddie out. So Eddie comes out. He then tells them what TJ told him. He said that TJ said he didn't come because he wasn't invited. He said that he's never coming back to DC and that somebody owes him money. That person being Stacey. Stacey asks, did he tell you that I was paying him to be my best friend on the show? And Eddie says, yeah, in a nutshell. Andy said, well, did he tell you that she owes him money in general, or does she owe him money for being on the show? And Eddie says, oh, well, we didn't get into too much detail. We just kind of left it at that. Stacey says, no, that's not true. I broke up with him because of the pressure, and maybe he's hurt. Maybe that's why he's saying this. The people don't believe her. Wendy says, why don't you FaceTime him right now and set the record straight? Stacey says, no, I'm not going to do that because we're no longer together. So everyone's like, okay, well, there we go. That says it all. Eddie then leaves. Ashley says to Stacey, listen, if you hired him to get on the show, like, we would understand that. That's understandable. And Stacey says, no, let me be very clear. I did not need TJ to get on this platform or any other platform. And Gizelle says to her, no one here believes you. Wendy says, you need to be honest because people are not going to trust you. So then Andy gets a message from the control room in his ear, and they're confirming that A, Mia has left, and B, they have the footage and will now bring it out to him on a phone. So Andy gets it. He sits next to Stacey to show her the clip. And yeah, in the clip, TJ says to Eddie, I'm not going to that fake show. I'm never going to go back to DC. You know she's paying me to do the show. Stacey was caught. All she says after watching this is, I'm so hurt. I'm so hurt for him saying that. I can't believe that a man who claims to be a man of God and honest would say this. I've never paid him a dime, and that is so hurtful. And all the other women are like, you know that he if he has receipts or proof, he's gonna put them out when this comes out. Like, you know that, right? Stacey says, well, you know what? Hurt people hurt people. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it was funny to see her be exposed. It was satisfying to see that the a la Kenya Moore model is being called out, as it should. I do think the women were doing a little too much. Like, if you actually see it in its entirety, I do think they were a little bit over the top. Like, they wouldn't shut up about it and, like, okay, we get it, we get it. But don't get me wrong, Stacey is full of BS. Um, I mean, don't get me wrong though, 99% probability she was caught, but that there is that 1% that maybe TJ's lying, which if he were, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? But I don't know if he's put anything out. Maybe we shall wait. Maybe he'll do it tomorrow or something. So Andy says to Stacey, "Well, do you want to call him right now?" And Stacey says, "I will absolutely be calling him with my attorney." Everyone's like, "Oh, okay." So they finally move on after 30 minutes of this. And then now it is time to digest the whole Karen Huger scandal. At the time of this taping of this reunion, Karen had not been found. She had been found guilty. She had just not been sentenced yet. She has now been sentenced as of Wednesday, you guys. She got 2 years with one of them suspended, so 1 year in total of actually serving time. A lot of stuff came out, like the fact that this was actually her fourth DUI. But anyway, they take a look back at this season to see how Karen handled this whole situation throughout the actual season. There's a question about Karen's denial of having a drinking problem, and the question to the ladies is, do they think she has a drinking problem, and have they ever been privy to see her be in that state like the one she was in that body count footage? And they all say yes, they've been knowing this, and that Karen definitely deflected all of this season. One of the ones who got the most the brunt of it was Jacqueline. She says that she had made a comment that she wasn't trying to be malicious in any way, but that Karen dragged her all season. She's talking about when she told the ladies that Karen called her drunk one day. And then they addressed the 8 balloons. And listen, Jacqueline is just like her friend Mia, full of BS too. She's talking about, oh, I wanted to release them into the atmosphere and make it a happy moment. And Andy says, but you were definitely trying to be shady. And Jacqueline says, well, yes, I was mad that she brought things up about my child's father, but I wanted to look at the positive. Andy then jokingly asks Jacqueline if Karen ever ended up suing her for trespassing or whatever it is she threatened her of. And Jacqueline says, after all this, I don't even think Karen has any money to sue me. Oh. Kriana says that it makes her sad to see all this happening. She's very close to Karen, and she and Greg would have been, willing to have helped her if with her alcohol issue. Ashley and some of the others, they say, like, we can't believe she actually went to trial. She took this case to trial. Stacy says, well, maybe she didn't know how she had acted that night. And Jacqueline says, yeah, maybe she never saw the footage until it was released. And Wendy says, no, 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 no. Karen and her attorneys had been pushing and pushing the trial, and they were trying to get rid of a lot of evidence. So they definitely knew that this footage existed and they had seen it. Gizelle then says that Karen didn't want to take a deal, and she was actually offered 2 deals: 60 days in jail, and she was also offered a deal of 6 months house arrest. The fact that she didn't take the house arrest deal is crazy, because now look at her. She was found guilty and sentenced to a year in prison, where she's at right now. Andy says something that didn't age well for Karen was her saying clank to clank, clank to clank. And he asks Ashley if that satisfied her in any way a little bit. But Ashley actually brings up some tea. There had been a journalist who was covering this incident from the very beginning, and he had said that Karen was actually with somebody that night. And if you look at the body cam footage, Karen does seem to say that somebody else was driving her car. Now, granted, she was drunk, so we can't really, confirm that, I guess. But yeah, that's interesting that there is apparently a theory that there was somebody driving and it wasn't her. I don't know. Andy wonders, where was Karen? Where was she coming from? Because initially it had been said that she was coming from a friend's house, but there was no one there to testify to that. So Gizelle says that she thinks it was actually a bar that's close to her house, and she must have figured that she was going to be able to make it. Wendy then says, Never mind. Never mind. I'm not gonna say it. So everyone's like, say it, Wendy. What is it? And she's like, no. I'm not gonna say it. I was just like, say it, but she didn't want to say it. So Jacqueline then leaves, and before they conclude, they show the ladies a scene that was filmed by Karen and Ray a day before she checked into this alleged rehab. So a day after she was found guilty. So in this scene, Karen is telling Ray that she had never seen the body cam footage before the day of the trial, which everyone thinks is a lie. Karen says to Ray, I didn't recognize that woman, but maybe I needed to see that. I also need to tell you something. After my mom and dad died, I adjusted my medication, so I've been self medicating. That night, I went to a friend's house and I didn't want a beer. I wanted a champagne, so I got a champagne. And I forgot that I had taken medication that day and I had upped the dose. I never drink and drive. I said, girl, this is your fourth one. What you never drink and drive? But Ray says to her, yeah, that's why we've gotten you a driver. All the women are just like, turn this off. Like, this is so performative. But for the first time, Karen did admit that this was self-inflicted and that she did put people's lives in danger. And I'm glad that she finally admitted that. But it clearly wasn't full accountability, and all of the women were so over it by the time it was done. They thought this was BS. Andy tries to give Karen some points, but all of them say no. And then Wendy says, like, no, because, like, what about the beers that were found in her car? So clearly she's not telling the whole truth in this scene. Ashley then says that she was on the train to get there, here to New York where they're filming, and that a random gentleman was talking to her. She told him about this show that she's on, and when he Googled the show and he saw Karen's picture, he told Ashley, I recognize this lady. I used to work at some seafood bar, restaurant, whatever it was, and she would drink every day. Like, she's a day drinker. Ashley's point, though, is that that Karen's problem has been here even before her parents died. Like, she's been an alcoholic even before that. And then Wendy says, that's what I wanted to say. What I didn't end up saying to y'all was that I had gone to a certain place and someone told me, you're on the show with Karen. She comes here every single day and gets drunk. Then they talk about the possibility of Karen going to jail. Gizelle says that it's going to be hard for her. Like, she can't wear a wig. She's 60 some years old. And I mean, Gizelle is right. I can't imagine going to prison at any age, but you're over 60? Oh. So Andy ends by saying, Kay is still shopping for rings. Ashley will be divorced by the time this comes out, and yes, she is divorced now. He has enjoyed Wendy and Gizelle's banter. He hopes that they can get closer because they seem to have a lot in common. Stacey had a good first season. She had a crazy ending to it, but where does she go now with TJ? And Stacey says, I'm not going anywhere with TJ. I lost my best friend tonight, but still, I'll rise. What? Gizelle says, leave Maya Angelou out of this. And lastly, Mia is gone, which Gizelle thinks is whack. Like, how are you gonna leave? And Ashley says, yeah, like, Mia was so firm all season and, like, holding her own. So for her to be like this today, it's just crazy. Wendy's like, well, let the record reflect that I clocked Mia from the very beginning. I was just like, ugh. But in conclusion, Andy thanks everyone and he says he can't wait to see what will come of Potomac. And that was the end of the season. Oof, you guys, really interesting reunion. It was interesting. It was really entertaining, I will say. But what are you guys' opinions about this reunion? What do you think about Stacey being caught for her fake boyfriend? And they're reporting that Potomac is going to start filming at the end of March. Now, obviously, Karen's not going to be there because she's in prison right now. So my question to you all is, leave it in the comments. If you had to bring back one ex-member of Potomac, who would it be? I say bring back Candiace. I don't know if that'll work out given that Gizelle, like, hates her. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Now, who should come back from the current cast and who shouldn't? Stacey should come back, I say, because we need something entertaining and new. Wendy can come back. As far as Gizelle, Ashley, and Kriana, I could do without any one of them. But y'all let me know what your thoughts are. You guys, thank y'all so much. It has been 19 episodes of The Real Housewives of Potomac. Some episodes were a little boring, but this season definitely ended with a bang. And I want to thank every single one of y'all who have been watching every recap that I've made on The Real Housewives of Potomac. And I have great news for y'all. The Real Housewives of Atlanta is returning next week, and we're definitely going to be here to talk all about it. So you guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thank y'all so much. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. Y'all have a great one. Bye.